In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. The topic of discourse is the philosophy of Avicenna or Ibn Sina, and I'm Seyyed Jaaber Mousavirad, and I intend to explain and teach his philosophy. The first chapter that I focus on is knowledge, and I want to explain the topic of knowledge in the philosophy of Avicenna. First of all, I start with the definition of knowledge. In his philosophical works, Avicenna Ibn Sina does not explicitly address the notion of knowledge by presence, al-ilm al-huzuri. Rather, the preponderance of his discussions pertain to representational knowledge, al-ilm al-husuli. In his definition of knowledge, he exclusively refers to this latter type, asserting that knowledge or perception, idrak, consists in the apprehension of the forms of known object within the soul. In the Islamic philosophy, the knowledge is divided into two sorts. First of all, the first sort is knowledge by presence. Knowledge by presence is direct knowledge and immediate knowledge. For example, the knowledge of myself, the knowledge that I have about myself. I know that I am, or I know that I have mental states. I know that I'm angry. I know that I'm sad. I know that I'm happy. This is knowledge by presence. Knowledge by presence means that it is immediate knowledge without any sort of without any intermediation of forms. In fact, I understand that I'm sad, for example, without any need to any intermediate. It means directly. This sort of knowledge is called knowledge by presence. And the second knowledge, the second sort of knowledge is knowledge al-ilm al-husuli, which is called sometimes acquired knowledge or representational knowledge. In the representational knowledge, I don't have immediate access to the knowledge, but I have access to the knowledge by an intermediate. This intermediate is called forms, or we can call it something like it. In the theory, what is the meaning of forms? The forms means what is in our mind. What is in our mind that represent the reality. For example, let me explain it. For example, suppose that I know that there is a tree, or I know that there is a book in front of me. What sort of knowledge do I have here? Here the knowledge is representational. It means that I have a form of book in my head, and this image or form or anything else that you can call it represent the book that is out of my mind. So here there is representational knowledge. What do we mean by representational knowledge? We mean that there are some sorts of forms or images or anything. It doesn't mean in something that has, for example, something that is only material, even something that is immaterial. We mean by form or image what is in our mind. What is in our mind is called here form or image or something else. There are different sorts of translation. So when I sad, for example, or when I'm angry, or when I'm happy, this feeling, does not need any sort of form or image. But when I have some sort of knowledge about external world, for example, I have knowledge that there is a tree or a book or something like it, in this case I have a form or image in my mind that represents the external tree or the external book or something like it. What do I mean by external? External, I mean something that is out of my mind. What in the philosophy we call it external world. What is the meaning of external world? External world is the world that is out of my mind. The world. The form in my mind represents the external world. There are terms that are used in Islamic philosophy. Alamul Kharij, external world, is the world that is out of my mind, and my forms, the image, as I mentioned, it doesn't mean, for example, only something that is material. No, anything in my mind here is called form. Anything that is in my mind that represents the external world. So here in the philosophy of Avicenna, his focus is on the al-ilm al-husuli. His focus is on the representational knowledge. It doesn't mean that he has not accepted the knowledge by presence. No, he accepted it, but he didn't use this term. When he defined knowledge, he defined the knowledge by he defined the representational knowledge. As I mentioned, it doesn't mean that he disagreed with knowledge by presence. No, he didn't disagree, but he didn't mention the name, and he focused on the representational knowledge. Therefore, he says that the knowledge, when he defined the knowledge, he says that knowledge consists in the apprehension of the forms. The forms, what is the meaning of forms? Forms are what are in our mind that represent the external world. Of known object. Non-known object, what is the meaning of known object? For example, suppose that there is a tree in front of me, or there is a book in front of me, or there is a computer in front of me. The form that represents the external computer, it is form, and what is in the external world is known object. Within the soul, what is the meaning within the soul? Within the soul means that in the philosophy of Avicenna, the knower is soul. The knower is soul. Who knows? Soul knows. So what is the role of brain? The role of brain is that brain is only a tool for the soul to understand. But who knows? The soul knows. It is the basic point in Islamic philosophy. But there are some details that I will explain in the next sessions. So the definition of knowledge is the apprehension of the forms of the known object within the soul. As I mentioned, it is in fact the definition of representational knowledge, which is the focus of the philosophy of Avicenna. The next topic in the philosophy of Avicenna about knowledge is about mental existence. Let me read the text and then I explain it. Although Avicenna does not explicitly employ the term mental existence, al-wujud al-zihni, in his corpus, his very definition of knowledge implicitly posits and affirms it. He argues that it is obviously evident that external objects themselves are not literally present in the mind during the act of cognition, a point that becomes even more conspicuous in the case of non-existent or impossible objects. Consequently, knowledge must consist in a reality distinct from the external object itself. And this reality is none other than the mental form, as-sura al-zihniya, or the intentional representation of the object present in the intellect. So let me explain this term. There are two terms, mental existence and external existence. Al-wujud al-zihni, mental existence, and al-wujud al-khariji, the external existence. Let me explain these terms. For example, suppose there is a computer in front of me. The computer has the external existence. What is the meaning of external existence? The meaning is that it is out of my mind, in the world, in the real world. And then I have an image or form of it in my mind. It is called mental existence. Mental existence is the knowledge of, for example, this computer in my mind. It is called mental existence. Avicenna did not use this term, the term mental existence, al-wujud al-zihni, yet he accepted it. He accepted it in his philosophy. Why? And what is the argument? He argues that there are two existences. As I mentioned, for example, suppose there is a computer in front of me. There is a computer which has the external existence and the form of computer in my mind. The form of computer means the knowledge that I have about this computer. It is called mental existence. Mental existence. Avicenna did not use this term, but he accepted the content of this mental existence. The content is the distinction between mental existence and external existence. And this distinction becomes very clear in cases of non-existence object or impossible objects. For example, suppose we say there is a golden mountain. The golden mountain is non-existent object. It has no existence in the external world. But we have a form of it. We have an imagination from it. So here we have mental existence, but we don't have external existence. Why? Because in the external world there is no golden mountain, but we have a form of it, an image of it in our mind. It is called mental existence. So in these cases, we can say that there are some mental existence. In some cases, they refer to something in the external world, and sometimes they don't refer to something in the external world. They have reality only in our mind. They don't have external reality. So here the important point is the distinction between mental existence and external existence. The mental existence normally represent or refer to the external world, but not always. In some cases, we have only mental existence without external existence. So Avicenna consequently, Avicenna says that knowledge must consist in a reality distinct from the external object. Here it is important that external object it is called external being or external existence, and the knowledge that we have from it is mental existence, and this reality is none other than mental form. Mental form sometimes refer mental forms sometimes refer to something in the external world and sometimes does not refer to such things. In the next session, I will explain the accidental nature of mental forms according to Avicenna.